day 65. Nancy Guthrie is still missing. And today, a massive digital fortune is attempting to route through cyberspace. The ground searches are yielding nothing. The physical trail is freezing cold. But a different kind of hunt is heating up. A hunt driven by algorithms and encrypted data. Someone out there sent a highly calculated email directly to TMZ. They are demanding a ransom in the millions. They are demanding it entirely in Bitcoin. This is a very specific type of extortion. It requires technical knowledge. It requires a cold and calculated mind. Is the person operating this crypto wallet the same masked man who stepped onto the porch that night? Or are we looking at a sophisticated digital phantom, someone exploiting a high-profile tragedy for a massive financial payout? That is the terrifying question federal agents are trying to answer at this very second. The FBI is not just looking for a physical body anymore. They are hunting a digital shadow. They are following the money. Financial forensics is now the tip of the spear in this investigation. Money trails leave permanent scars on the blockchain. We are tracking every single update on this unprecedented cyber manhunt. To follow every twist and turn of this financial forensic puzzle, you should subscribe to Tracking Evil with John right now. We will monitor the ledger. We will report the exact moment the suspect makes a fatal error. The ransom demand changes the entire landscape of this case. It elevates a missing persons report into a federal cybercrime priority. The perpetrator thinks the internet provides perfect cover. They think cryptocurrency guarantees complete anonymity. Federal cyber teams know otherwise. They are pulling apart the digital threads of that ransom email. They are analyzing server hops and encrypted nodes. They are looking for the tiny technical leak that will expose the suspect. This is a race against a ticking clock. Nancy Guthrie is 84 years old. She relies on a pacemaker. She needs life-saving medication every single day. The stakes could not be higher. The extortionist knows this. They are using her fragile health as leverage. It is a psychological game played on a digital chessboard. Every hour that passes without a resolution is agonizing. The ransom demand is a bold and dangerous move. It forces the suspect to communicate. Communication means data. Data means evidence. The FBI is waiting for the suspect to blink. They are waiting for the money to move. Because the moment that Bitcoin transfers, it creates a map that might point directly to a hostage. To understand why this crypto wallet is the absolute key to solving this mystery, we have to rewind the clock. We have to go back to the exact night every electronic signal around Nancy Guthrie went completely dark. The timeline of the disappearance starts on January 31st. The night begins like any other. At 9:50 in the evening, Tommaso Cioni drops his mother-in-law off at her residence. The garage door closes. The house is secure. Nancy is safely inside. That is the final confirmed moment she is seen alive. The stillness of the night is shattered hours later. A man enters the frame of the security footage. He is calculated. He is prepared. He is estimated to be between 5'9" and 5'10" tall. His face is completely obscured by a mask. He is carrying a black Ozark Trail backpack. A specific detail captured in the darkness. He steps onto the porch. Whatever happens next is violent. Blood is later found smeared on the concrete of that porch. Forensic analysis confirms a terrifying truth. The DNA from the bloodstain belongs to Nancy. She is taken from her own home. But the interior of the house remains largely undisturbed. There are no signs of a chaotic struggle inside the walls. There is no shattered glass from a forced entry. It looks like she simply vanished into thin air. By noon the following day, the panic sets in. The first emergency calls echo through the dispatch center. The reality of the situation takes hold. An elderly woman is gone. The masked man has completely vanished. He leaves behind nothing but a few drops of blood and a grainy silhouette. The local police face a terrifying void of physical evidence. They have a bloodstain and a blurry image. They have an incomplete picture of a ghost, but the physical evidence is only half the story. The thing actually guiding the FBI is hidden in the invisible signals that were cut. The extortionist does not want unmarked bills in a duffel bag. That is a relic of the past. They want the blockchain. They want cryptocurrency. According to reports, a highly calculated email is sent directly to local news station KOLD. This is a very specific tactical decision by the sender. They do not contact the family directly. They contact the media. They want to create a public spectacle. They want to amplify the terror. But this email is not a standard threatening message. According to investigators, it contains highly guarded crime scene details. The communication specifically mentions a broken floodlight outside the residence. It explicitly notes the exact location of an Apple Watch inside the home. These are not public facts. These are holdback details. The local police have not released this information to the press. Only the investigators and the perpetrator know about the shattered floodlight and the abandoned watch. This elevates the email from a cruel prank to a primary piece of evidence. The author of this message has intimate knowledge of the crime scene. They were there. They are now demanding a massive digital payout. Financial forensics teams are tearing this communication apart. They are tracing the routing protocols. They are looking at the syntax and the digital footprint. The demand for Bitcoin is a calculated risk. Cryptocurrency is often misunderstood as entirely anonymous. Criminals think it is a ghost network, but the blockchain is actually a public ledger. Every single transaction is recorded forever. The FBI has specialized cyber units that do nothing but trace these digital coins. They map the flow of virtual money across international borders in milliseconds. If the suspect thinks they are hiding securely behind a screen, they are gravely mistaken. They are leaving a permanent digital trail. The choice to demand cryptocurrency requires technical infrastructure. The suspect must have a secure wallet. They must know how to launder the digital currency through tumblers and mixers to obscure the final destination. This implies a level of sophistication rarely seen in a standard home invasion. We are looking at a perpetrator who is as comfortable with encryption keys as they are with breaking into a residence. The detail about the Apple Watch is particularly chilling. It means the suspect was inside the home. It means they had the time to observe their surroundings. They noticed small electronic devices. They understood the value of proving they were actually there. The broken floodlight suggests meticulous preparation. It shows they wanted to control the environment. They wanted absolute darkness. This was not a crime of opportunity. This was a targeted operation. The email to KOLD is a psychological weapon. It forces the local news to become the messenger. The extortionist wants the world to watch the authorities scramble. The Financial Cybercrimes Division is working around the clock. They are building a behavioral profile based purely on these digital demands. A criminal who demands millions in Bitcoin is not a desperate burglar. They are an opportunist with a digital exit strategy. The investigators are parsing every single byte of that cold email. They are looking for metadata. They are searching for the digital fingerprints left behind when the sender hit transmit. The financial stakes are astronomical, but the human cost is immeasurable. The suspect is holding an elderly woman hostage while negotiating a cryptocurrency transfer. It is a terrifying intersection of physical violence and digital extortion. The authorities are keeping the exact Bitcoin wallet address heavily guarded. They do not want amateur sleuths interfering with the blockchain analysis. They are setting a massive digital trap. They are waiting for the extortionist to attempt a withdrawal. The moment that cryptocurrency is converted to fiat money, the trap springs shut. The IP address will be exposed. The physical location will be pinpointed. The digital phantom will become a real person with a real address. The tension in the cyber command center is palpable. They are staring at monitors. They are watching lines of code. They are waiting for the money to move. Because the money is the only thing tethering the suspect to the real world. A perpetrator who knows exactly where the Apple Watch was left, is demanding a digital fortune. It sounds like the perfect confession. It feels like the FBI has their prime suspect trapped in a digital corner until a completely different ransom demand surfaces and fractures the entire investigation. The digital manhunt suddenly splits in two. Another extortion attempt emerges from the shadows. The authorities track this new communication to a completely different location. They trace it all the way to California. Federal agents move in rapidly. They execute an arrest on the West Coast. They apprehend a man named Derek Colella. He is taken into federal custody for sending a fake extortion letter to the family. He is trying to capitalize on their agonizing pain. He is demanding money for a woman he has never even seen. He does not have the victim. He does not know where she is. He is simply a predator watching the national news. This revelation triggers absolute disgust. The public outrage is immediate and intense. People are furious that criminals are using an 84-year-old woman as bait for a financial scam. It is a sickening display of greed. Hoaxers are flooding the investigation with false leads. They are intentionally draining law enforcement resources. Every fake ransom demand takes hours to verify. It pulls agents away from the real suspect. It wastes precious time that the victim simply does not have. Derek Kallela is now facing serious federal charges for his deception, but his arrest creates a terrifying problem for the investigators. The water is now completely poisoned. The FBI must filter through a swamp of digital lies. They have to determine which ransom demand is real and which is a cruel scam. This is the dark side of a high-profile investigation. The media attention attracts digital scavengers. They swarm the case looking for a quick payout. They do not care about the human life hanging in the balance. They only care about the cryptocurrency. We are dedicated to cutting through these lies and exposing the actual evidence. To help us build this timeline and support the search, you need to subscribe to Tracking Evil with John right now. Your engagement pushes this investigation further into the public eye where the real suspect cannot hide. The arrest of Kallela is a minor victory for the cyber team. They caught a scammer, but it leaves a massive gaping hole in the center of the case. The California man is a complete fraud. He had no real information. He was just guessing. This brings the FBI right back to the email sent to KOLD. The communication with the holdback details, the email that specifically mentioned the broken floodlight and the exact location of the Apple Watch. If the California suspect is completely fake, then who authored that incredibly detailed message? Who actually stood in that house and looked at that watch? The real extortionist is still out there. They are watching the authorities chase down the hoaxers. They are hiding behind their encrypted connection. They are holding the real answers. The hoaxers are a distraction, a very loud and very cruel distraction. The true predator is the one who knew the layout of the crime scene. The one who demanded the Bitcoin payment. The FBI has successfully eliminated one digital phantom, but the main target remains entirely elusive. The cyber unit is now zeroing in on the original Bitcoin wallet, the one tied to the unreleased crime scene details. They know this is the authentic money trail. They know the suspect is monitoring the ledger. The digital cat and mouse game is escalating. The extortionist is highly disciplined. They are not making the same amateur mistakes as the California scammer. They are maintaining perfect operational security. They are waiting for the family to break. They are waiting for the millions to transfer. The investigators are facing a wall of encryption. The public is reeling from the cruelty of the fake ransom demands. The moral outrage is boiling over. How can someone sit behind a keyboard and torture a family for digital coins? It is a profound level of depravity. The case is now a tangled web of real violence and digital deception. The physical evidence at the house is sparse. The digital evidence is contaminated by scammers. The FBI is fighting a war on two completely different fronts. They are hunting a violent kidnapper in the physical world. They are battling sophisticated extortionists in cyberspace. The California arrest proves that law enforcement can and will track down the digital predators. But it also proves that the investigation is incredibly vulnerable to outside interference. Every fake lead is a ticking clock. The agents have to verify the origin of every single message. They have to trace every IP address. They cannot afford to ignore a message that might contain the real location of the victim. The suspect knows this. They know the FBI is overwhelmed. They are using the chaos to their advantage. They are hiding in the noise. The cyber investigators just caught a bottom-feeding scammer, but the apex predator, the one who actually shattered the floodlight and stepped into that house, is still guarding their crypto wallet. The authorities eliminated the fake ransom, but that only leaves them with a much darker reality. The original extortionist is real, and they are waiting. The FBI just pulled back the curtain on a digital fraudster, but the mastermind is still holding the cards. The authorities caught a fake, so who sent the email with the details? No one else could possibly know. The physical evidence is slowly taking shape at the scene. The forensic teams are working meticulously through the residence. They are collecting swabs and taking samples from every surface. The blood on the porch is confirmed as the victim, but a different biological signature emerges from the darkness. Investigators locate DNA from an unknown male. It does not belong to family members. It does not belong to any known associates. It is a completely foreign genetic profile found at the crime scene. A second piece of potential evidence surfaces 2 miles away from the house. A glove is discovered discarded. The authorities immediately secure it for testing. They extract DNA from the material. The media reports this as a massive breakthrough. The public waits for the profiles to match, but the investigation hits a snag. The glove is ultimately excluded. The DNA on the fabric does not match the unknown male profile found at the house. It is a dead end. But the foreign DNA collected from the residence remains a crucial piece of physical evidence. This is the duality of modern criminal investigations. The FBI is running a race on 2 entirely separate tracks. On the ground, the forensic biology units are running DNA through databases. They are searching for a physical match to the unknown male profile. In cyberspace, the cyber units are running algorithms through the blockchain. They are searching for the digital footprint of the extortionist. The biological evidence is slow. DNA extraction takes time. Amplification takes time. Running the profile against the national database takes time. The suspect has a head start. The digital evidence, on the other hand, is instantaneous. Cryptocurrency transactions move at the speed of light. The blockchain never sleeps. The financial forensics team is watching the ledger in real time. They are waiting for the exact moment the suspect decides to move the digital assets. They are analyzing the behavior of the wallet. Is it cold storage? Is it connected to an exchange? The contrast between these 2 forensic disciplines is stark. Forensic biology is hunting a physical body. Forensic finance is hunting a digital signature. But they are both searching for the exact same person. The investigators must bridge the gap between the physical bloodstain and the virtual currency. The suspect left behind a genetic code at the house. They left behind a cryptographic code on the internet. The authorities have to connect those 2 data points. The DNA might tell them who the suspect is. The Bitcoin might tell them where the suspect is. The physical search is exhausting. The digital search is relentless. The cyber analysts are staring at strings of alphanumeric characters. The crime scene technicians are staring at microscopic cells. It is a massive coordinated effort across multiple law enforcement agencies. The public focuses on the tangible evidence. They want to see the glove. They want to know about the blood. But the digital investigators know that the crypto wallet is far more dangerous to the suspect. The blockchain is a permanent record of their greed. The extortionist believes they are smarter than the federal government. They believe their encryption is unbreakable. The FBI is banking on the fact that human error always compromises digital security. They are waiting for the suspect to make one small mistake. The suspect has to log in. They have to connect to the network. They have to access the funds. The moment they do, the digital trap will close. The biological profile is waiting for a name. The financial profile is waiting for an IP address. The DNA processing is agonizingly slow, but the digital data speaks volumes the very second it is created, and the most terrifying data points recorded that night did not come from the security cameras. The security cameras provide a timeline of the initial breach. The footage establishes the presence of the masked intruder. At 1:47 in the morning, the primary camera system is abruptly disconnected. The digital eye goes completely blind. The suspect knows exactly how to neutralize the surveillance network. They understand the infrastructure of the smart home. This is a crucial data point. It indicates prior knowledge or a high level of technical proficiency. The video feed stops cold. The timeline plunges into darkness. The authorities know the suspect is inside the perimeter, but they cannot see what happens next. The physical evidence shows a struggle occurred. The blood on the porch confirms a violent physical confrontation, but the digital timeline tells a much more disturbing story. The victim relies on a medical device. A pacemaker continuously monitors her heart rhythm. This device is connected via Bluetooth to a smartphone application. It transmits life-saving health data constantly. It is a vital tether to the outside world. The investigators analyze the data logs from the medical application. The records show the pacemaker transmitting normally during the initial stages of the home invasion. The camera goes dark at 1:47. The medical device continues to broadcast. But then the timeline fractures. At 2:28 in the morning, the pacemaker application suddenly loses connection. The medical data stream stops completely. This creates a terrifying 41-minute gap. The cameras are blinded at 1:47. The heart monitor goes silent at 2:28. The discrepancy between these two timestamps is the most haunting element of this investigation. What happens during those 41 minutes? Why does the medical device stay connected for nearly 3/4 of an hour after the security system is disabled? The investigators are analyzing the technical specifications of the pacemaker application. The Bluetooth connection has a limited range. The victim must remain within a certain proximity to the smartphone for the data to transmit. Did the suspect remove the victim from the home immediately and leave the phone behind? If so, the connection would have dropped instantly. Did the suspect keep the victim inside the residence for 41 agonizing minutes before disabling the phone? This implies a prolonged confrontation. The authorities must consider another technical possibility. Did the suspect utilize a signal jammer, a device designed to block Wi-Fi and Bluetooth frequencies? This would require an even higher level of technical sophistication. It would explain why both systems failed independently. The 41-minute window is a black hole in the investigation. The suspect is completely off the grid. The victim is isolated. The investigators are reconstructing the digital environment of the house. They are analyzing the router logs. They are checking the cellular tower pings in the immediate area. They are trying to find any electronic pulse that can illuminate those missing minutes. The timeline is not just a sequence of events, it is a map of the suspect's behavior. The delayed disconnection of the pacemaker suggests a calculated sequence of actions. The perpetrator did not panic. They neutralized the security first. They controlled the environment. Then they dealt with the communications. This methodical approach is terrifying. The public focuses on the visual of the masked man on the porch. The investigators are focused on the 41 minutes of missing digital data. The timestamps are rigid and unforgiving. They represent the exact moments the suspect's plan was executed. The FBI is cross-referencing the camera failure with the pacemaker failure. They are trying to build a behavioral model from the timestamps. The suspect controlled the physical space and the digital space. They silenced the alarms and they silenced the medical monitor. The 41-minute gap is not just a physical void, it is a digital tomb. When the investigators overlay these timestamps onto the cellular data map and the flow of the blockchain, they realize a much more terrifying truth. The suspect profile fractures all conventional criminal logic. Street-level burglars do not demand massive cryptocurrency payouts. Sophisticated cybercriminals do not physically ambush elderly women in the dark. This perpetrator operates seamlessly across both distinct worlds. He physically subdued an 84-year-old victim. He bled her on the concrete porch, then he completely vanished into the internet. He authored an incredibly precise ransom demand. He utilized unreleased holdback details to authenticate his threat. He mandated a specific digital currency drop. This requires a terrifying intersection of violent and technical skill sets. He is a sophisticated digital extortionist. He specifically targeted the vulnerable family of a prominent media figure. He knew the victim was the mother of an NBC News anchor. He knew the family possessed the resources to meet his demands. He knew the national media would immediately amplify the terror. He weaponized the 24-hour news cycle. He weaponized the decentralized blockchain. Look closely at the glaring technical contradictions in the evidence. If you are a highly skilled hacker who knows how to bypass a medical heartbeat monitor, do you accidentally leave a physical DNA profile on a glove? This specific contradiction is tearing through the true crime community. It sparks massive debate among forensic analysts and armchair detectives alike. Did the suspect intentionally plant the foreign DNA at the crime scene? Is the biological evidence a deliberate and calculated countermeasure? A way to send physical investigators chasing a genetic ghost while he operates exclusively online? Or did the chaotic physical reality of a violent home invasion shatter his meticulous digital planning? The FBI Behavioral Analysis Unit must weigh both terrifying possibilities. They must hunt a violent thug and a ghost hacker simultaneously. They are profiling a phantom who bleeds. The suspect managed to permanently blind a smart home security network. He completely severed a Bluetooth connection from an internal medical implant. He drafted a flawless media-ready extortion demand. This is absolutely not a random burglary gone wrong. This is a highly orchestrated kidnapping for digital ransom. We are witnessing the terrifying evolution of the modern home invasion. The suspect treats the physical crime scene as a mere stepping stone to the digital payout. He does not care about the physical valuables left inside the house. He bypasses the tangible assets entirely. He only cares about the victim as ultimate leverage. To ensure you never miss a single crucial update on this evolving cyber profile, you need to hit subscribe right now. Our channel tracks these digital footprints the exact moment they hit the public ledger. We analyze the behavior of the extortionist while federal authorities desperately close the net. The working profile points to a highly organized and disciplined individual. He has not communicated a single word since the initial verified email. He simply watches the authorities scramble to arrest the copycat hoaxers. He monitors the live news coverage of his own violent crime. He is incredibly patient. He is waiting for the family panic to reach its absolute peak. This is the chilling psychology of a modern digital predator. He isolates his prey physically and then isolates them digitally. The 41-minute gap is his operational masterpiece. He erased himself entirely from the physical video record. He erased the victim entirely from the medical data record. He left behind a dark void and a single crypto wallet address. The authorities have a profile of a digital phantom, but this phantom is actively holding a real human life. That is the terrifying reality of this unprecedented case. The reality of this investigation is bleak and entirely uncompromising. There is no Hollywood ending available today. As of April 6, 2026, the case remains completely open. Nancy Guthrie is still gone. The authorities are entirely transparent about the ongoing status of the search. They do not have the victim safely recovered. They do not have the primary suspect sitting in federal custody. The physical searches in the surrounding desert areas are rapidly scaling back. The search dogs and the tactical helicopters cannot track a Bitcoin transaction. The investigation now shifts entirely to the federal cyber command centers. The courts are systematically sealing the newly issued search warrants. A judge locks away the investigative documents to fiercely protect the fragile digital hunt. Law enforcement refuses to release any further holdback details to the press. They absolutely cannot risk another wave of sophisticated hoaxers poisoning the data pool. The current silence from the federal authorities is highly strategic. They are establishing an invisible digital perimeter. The specific Bitcoin wallet address provided in the verified cold email is now the most watched string of characters in the world. It is completely frozen by advanced federal surveillance algorithms. The suspect holds the private encryption keys to the wallet, but he is entirely trapped by the public nature of the blockchain. Every single node on the global network is watching that exact address. If the suspect attempts to move a fraction of a digital cent, the system will scream. The FBI Cyber Task Force will instantly trace the routing protocols. They will immediately deploy aggressive countermeasures to unmask the true IP address. The suspect absolutely cannot cash out his ransom without stepping directly into the light. It is a high-stakes digital standoff playing out in real time. The digital money is sitting in plain sight on the public ledger, but it is completely untouchable. The extortionist has the digital hostage of the frozen funds. The FBI has the surveillance net locked tight, but the suspect still has the physical hostage in his possession. This creates an unbearable and agonizing tension for the victim's family. The missing woman is 84 years old. Her pacemaker requires constant remote monitoring. Her body requires vital daily medication to survive. The suspect is playing a sick waiting game with a fragile human life. The authorities are actively hoping the intense digital pressure forces a critical mistake. They desperately want the suspect to panic. They want him to nervously check the wallet balance online. They want him to accidentally log into a public cryptocurrency exchange. Every single keystroke he makes is a potential fatal vulnerability, but the suspect remains terrifyingly disciplined. The digital ledger remains completely static. The investigators are rapidly running out of physical leads to pursue on the ground. They interview nervous neighbors and carefully review distant traffic cameras. They analyze the basic suspect description over and over again. A man of average height in a dark mask carrying an Ozark Trail backpack. It is a generic description that comfortably fits thousands of local people. It is practically useless without the confirming digital context. The case currently stands at a terrifying and unresolved precipice. We have two massive unanswered questions that completely define this entire tragedy. First, where exactly did the suspect take Nancy during those dark 41 minutes? Second, who is actually controlling the encrypted keys to that massive ransom wallet? These specific questions must be answered to finally bring her home. The physical footprint ended abruptly on the concrete porch. The digital footprint leads directly into the darkest corners of the web. The battle is no longer being fought on the front lawn, it is being fought on the servers. Digital footprints are not like footprints in the sand. They are absolutely permanent and completely unforgiving. We must critically examine the forensic vulnerabilities exposed in this active criminal investigation. Modern offenders view smart home devices as massive security liabilities rather than physical deterrents. A connected security camera or a Bluetooth medical implant provides undeniable convenience for the daily user, but it simultaneously provides a highly accessible attack vector for a technically sophisticated predator. If your internal home network relies on default factory passwords, it is entirely vulnerable to complete remote manipulation. The suspect disabled the primary surveillance feeds by simply exploiting a weak digital perimeter. You must physically secure your wireless routers and heavily encrypt your local networks to prevent a hostile takeover. You must aggressively separate your critical medical devices onto entirely isolated systems. The unexplained failure of the pacemaker connection highlights a terrifying reality about our daily reliance on Bluetooth technology. We blindly trust our fragile lives to invisible wireless frequencies. We forget that these signals can be easily jammed or intercepted by someone standing just outside our bedroom walls. The second crucial lesson involves the absolute myth of the anonymous cryptocurrency transaction. Violent extortionists routinely demand Bitcoin because they falsely believe it completely hides their true identity from federal investigators. The reality of financial forensics dictates the exact opposite outcome. The blockchain is a completely transparent and unalterable public ledger. It aggressively records every single fraction of a coin transferred anywhere across the globe. It logs the exact timestamp and the specific routing nodes permanently into the global system. Criminals think they are operating invisibly in the dark corners of the deep web. They are actually standing under the brightest forensic spotlight ever created by law enforcement. Federal cyber agencies possess the advanced algorithmic tools to ultimately unmask these heavily encrypted digital wallets. They meticulously map the complex financial networks and patiently wait for the virtual money to interact with a physical bank account. The suspect cannot spend the digital ransom without revealing his physical location. These specific technical insights help us fortify our own homes against modern digital threats. We learn how to protect our data from invisible predators. But the Guthrie family does not need a lesson in advanced cybersecurity right now. They do not care about routers or encryption keys. They just need a single definitive answer. We return to the absolute center of this terrifying and unresolved mystery. Who is the invisible architect currently controlling that frozen cryptocurrency wallet? Is it the violent masked intruder who physically stepped onto the porch that night? Or is it a completely separate opportunistic hacker orchestrating the digital chaos from afar? Time is the ultimate and most unforgiving enemy in this ongoing federal investigation. A desperately vulnerable 84-year-old woman is actively separated from her vital daily medication. Her pacemaker requires constant remote monitoring that is currently severed. Every single passing minute dramatically decreases the statistical odds of a safe physical recovery. The federal authorities are fighting a relentless clock on the ground and an impenetrable encrypted wall online. The pressure is mounting on both fronts simultaneously. We will intensely monitor every single movement of this frozen digital money. We will track every official law enforcement bulletin released by the FBI. Hit the notification bell right now because this unprecedented cyber manhunt could break wide open at any given second. The digital trap is fully set and we are watching the public ledger incredibly closely. The physical trail ended weeks ago on a cold concrete porch. But the digital trail is still actively pulsing through the network. We absolutely cannot let this digital phantom disappear back into the internet with a human life. The silence from the authorities means they are preparing to strike. Think carefully about the invisible signals constantly transmitting from your own house right now. Your mobile phones and your security cameras are always communicating with the outside world. You generate a massive digital footprint before you even leave your driveway. Tonight, when you finally turn off your front security camera to go to sleep, do you know for certain that the system is actually protecting you, or is someone out there silently watching you in the dark?